Hello, welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. I am delighted to be joined by Stephen Ireland. Stephen, you seem to be making headlines at the moment. How are you keeping, and how have you been finding this lockdown period at the moment?
Yeah, everything's been fine. Lockdown's been very, very long. But just made the most of it with my family. Some nice time with my family, and we all went fitness mad. So it was nice for everybody to, be on the same page, getting out on bikes and going for walks and taking the dogs out and getting some fitness in. So yeah, it's just made the most of it. But it's been long. It's been long for everybody, hasn't it? So I'm happy it's nearly at the end of it now, and football's back on, of course, to watch, and things are seeming to be a bit better. So finally, it seems like we're getting back to some bit of normality.
Yeah, I think that did that kind of. I know you probably wanted to get back beforehand, but more so were you thinking that now because of the coronavirus, you had so much time to think, and I think a lot of people are kind of making decisions now, that they want to make their life so much better because of the lockdown. It kind of made people kind of think more so about the future.
For sure, I think everybody's learned a lesson through lockdown. Everybody's took the simple things for granted. I think everybody's learned lessons and learned more about themselves and more about their families and their partners. Everybody has throughout this lockdown. It's been testing for everybody. Um, but being around these guys, my quality compared to their quality, what we both can and can't do, I still feel I have it. I have all the talent. I have my foot. There's no question about my footballing ability at all. I know that. I just need to get into an environment, bodies around me, back into that professional environment, and get conditioned again. I suppose in that environment because it's a high pressure, high demanding job being a footballer, and I just need to get myself motoring again and see where I can take it. And I have no doubts about that. I just have to be smart on my next move. I'm having a lot of good conversations at the moment with managers, and it's just about where I'm going to get that exposure, where I'm going to get played, where I'm going to be wanted, where I'm going to get the game time, and also managed properly in terms of right. He hasn't played in such a long time. Can I go back and do a pre-season? But I might not be able to go hell for leather too soon with like the other guys because they are more advanced than me because they have been in that environment. I need to maybe have a little bit more patience, but I'm always naturally fit. I always look after myself, so I just feel like the next choice for me is the most vital one because I do feel I have 3, 4 more years minimum left. It's just you know what club can I go to where, like I say, all the boxes be ticked for me to make that comeback.
Yeah, because obviously in the peak of your powers, I'm not, so to speak, blowing smoke up your arse, but you were one of the best players in the Premier League at the peak of your powers. I mean, there's no doubt that you could get back to a very high level. Maybe not that level, but a very high level once again.
Yeah, look, football's strange. We've seen stranger things happen, haven't we? We've seen a lot. Football's so unpredictable. I don't want to. I'm gonna set my bar very high because why not? If you're gonna set yourself something unrealistic, then so be it. But at least it's a target to chase down. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go back and just plod along for a couple of years and grind it out. I'm not going back for that reason. I just stay with my family, enjoy my life. I don't have to go back just to get out of the house and going back for serious reasons because I think I owe it to myself. I don't have I never had that block in my career where I was selfish, where I was focused on me, what I needed to eat, what I needed to prepare for, how I needed to go into games. I just found it hard to be selfish. And I'm at the point now where my kids are at good ages where I can give that investment to myself to go, right, I need, what about what Stephen wants now? Usually it's, my friends or my family or my kids, they need to go into this football or they need to go here, there. And of course, look, that's been a dad. Everybody goes through that. But I'm probably over the top with that. I probably should be focusing a bit more on myself and what I need, my recovery or this and that. And I was always juggling things, and it's led to a lot of things that down the line where I probably didn't just invest enough time and energy into myself. And now I feel my mileage is low for the last few years due to not playing so much. And I feel I just really owe to myself to go back and give it a right go and prove to myself more than anybody that yeah, I do deserve to be here and I should be here. And I'm gonna go back and push people in my place. Push the young lads who are coming through, and like I said, just try give it a right good shot.
Yeah, well, like as I say, there's no harm. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk from kind of how you started out your career right up to what you're doing now. We'll kind of go that way around about it. So,
Yeah,
do you want to
no
talk to me
problem.
about your earlier days playing football and kind of what what was it that made you fall in love with football, and then who you got playing with your first club, and just kind of bring it down to City if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, I grew up in a place called Cove in Cork. I had a really good childhood. I enjoyed it. Cove's a lovely, lovely place, beautiful, so picturesque. It's stunning, and I still keep in touch daily with all my friends from there, family, and yeah, it's I love it. I love bringing my kids back there as well. This and go. This is where I played on this pitch, and this is when I've done that. It's
Yeah.
I love it. I really, really love it back there. I'm due to go back very soon. I just wish I could go back a bit more. It's just hard when you have a family here and school, and they're on their journey now. My kids, I suppose, and I got to support that. And I grew up. Yeah, my dad played football. Football obsessed, Man United obsessed. So he got me into it very early, and I was always like 4 or 5 years old playing 8, 9, 10. There's always the guy playing, the tiny little guy that's too young to be there. But then I just developed my skills really, really quickly and became such a passion and an obsession to me, Man United and football. And yeah, I was just obsessed with it. I'd never seen without a football. No matter what weather I was practicing, I practiced on things that really advanced as well. I probably wasn't capable of doing, but my persistence and my drive just always helped me through. And yeah, I just had great times and great memories through all the age groups. I started getting trials really young, 11, 12. I was at Derby County, Wolves, and Nottingham Forest. So I've done the rounds through all them. Um, Went and played for Cork City in the Kennedy Cup and cleaned up with all the trials there. I was, best player of the tournament, and I just cleaned up and just went through all the different trials, then figuring out what was right for me at the time again. And it was Man City. And Man City at the time, I'm sure it just got out of League One back into the Championship. But it just
Was
felt
that
right.
when what's his Paul Dickoff
Kick
scored the
off.
goal for it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just felt right. And believe it or not, I actually was a United fan, but I was in the airport with my dad coming back from being at it's called a Bobby Charlton soccer school. At the time, it was like a skills competition in Manchester, and I went there at 11 years old and won a tournament out of 20,000 people. And on the way back, I actually liked to look at the Man City jersey because it was a luminous green, and I was obsessed with luminous green back then. And I got bought that jersey, and then I didn't transition from United to City, but I felt a bit warmer towards Man City. But at the time, the Derby thing wasn't even a big deal because they were, League One, the Championship, and so on, so on.
It
So
was more so with Liverpool, the derby, really, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, and
United
Leeds, I
Liverpool.
suppose, as well.
Yeah.
Leeds was a bit of a competitive one for them. So yeah, and then I started going on trials here, there, everywhere, and it was challenging and tough. And I was always going over 11, 12, 13 to trials of playing 17s and 18s football because there was never things in place then underage at academies in England. So I was always 3, 4 years out of my depth. So it was always like you didn't do quite well, or you should have done better. And it's like, well, I'm playing with men. You know what I mean? It was men who've probably been in academies for God knows how many years. And so yeah, I went to a lot of trials, enjoyed my trials, learned a lot, and I went to Man United on trial, had a really great trial. It's probably one of my best trials I actually performed on. And I went from there straight to Man City and signed at Man City. After a couple of days, they were like, we want to sign you, we don't want to, we've seen enough. And yeah, I just felt from all the Irish boys that were there at the time, there was a lot of Irish there. I just felt it was home to me. I just thought like it was going to be an easy transition from Ireland to go to Manchester City. And yeah, I just never looked back. And I also thought pathway. I thought, if I can get in with a good 18 months under my belt, I reckon I could be close to the first team. If I went to United, it could be very, very unlikely. I just saw that really early on with Man City, and yeah, and luckily it kind of worked out. 18 months to 2 years, I was in the first team, so it kind of paid off.
Yeah, I know in the athletic piece that you touched on, it's hard and difficult, especially you mentioned there being in a men's environment,
Mm,
and then there was the pranks being played on you, and I think it was Bosvelt you went in
mm,
for a tackle with,
mm,
to earn his respect, you had to smash him in a tackle basically, but
mm.
there was professionals seeing you coming in as competition, and they were trying to make life as difficult for you because they obviously seen you as the young guy coming in trying to take their place, like.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm the opposite to that. I'm very welcoming to the young lads. I spend time with them afterwards. Pep Guardiola actually came to Man City on trial one time, and I just got in the first team. He came on trial for a week, and he was amazing. And after he was the first and only one. It was so strange to me to see it. He went after the session. down to the kids' pitches and started playing football with them, setting up a little like triangle game with them and doing two touch. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. This shows different culture. In England, it was completely the opposite. I wish I got that treatment, and believe me, I did not, and either did anybody else. It was tough times, and look, it has its place in football. Don't get me wrong. I still feel cleaning boots and doing things that have their place in football. I think it really builds character in the kids. Certain things are a no go. Certain things I feel have their place. And yeah, looking back, it was a tough environment, and you had to grow up really, really quick, and you're always getting tested. You literally didn't have a second to yourself without getting tested. But that was just the way it was back then, and that's how football was. And yeah, it's changed, and there's much more protection now, and kids can have more of a say. Absolutely, I agree with that as well. But yeah, it was tough times then, but it made you resilient, and you learned a lot from it. And you can go either way. You either copy them, or you make your own mind up and go, no, I'll go this way because this is how I am as a person. And I've always been that way inclined with academy kids. I've always been open and helpful with these guys, and I think a lot of people wouldn't see that or expect that from me, but that's just the way I am. And I like being helpful. I like if I can see things or see something in someone's game that needs to be done or changed, or their decision making, I will go and I'll have that conversation with them. And I'll actually put it into action as well in the training ground. So I think that's just my nature.
Well, actually, Daniel Kelly, he was obviously a Bolton, came over from Ireland, had said that you were very good to him when you went over. So I could see, how what you're saying is true. But at the time, obviously at Man City, I'm not sure how many kids you had at that point when you were breaking into the first team, and obviously it's kind of, and I don't want it to sound bad in this instance, but it kind of held you back in some ways because you had the kid and traveling. You mentioned you couldn't get a nanny and stuff like that, so I imagine it was a very difficult period.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I wouldn't change it for the world because it's the best thing that ever happened to me. My kids are fantastic. My boy now has just turned 16. He's on the verge of, I don't want to kind of throw it out there, but I think he's on the verge of having a good career. So it's great to be around him, and if I'm giving him a bit of a prep talk, I'm saying I've had you since you were 16. We've been together for so long through such hard times, and I'm trying to inspire him with these kind of words because luckily he's been blessed with being around. He's always had a nice lifestyle. The kids have always had a nice lifestyle. We don't raise them that way. They will never be given anything. They're not spoiled. They're well-spoken, very mannerly kids. And me and my wife work extremely hard on them. We are really, really tough on them because, we don't want to be raised that way. It's important to have value for money and respect money. And yeah, it was a tough journey. There was a real patch where 4 or 5 years me and my wife we were struggling, really struggling, and we were kids raising kids, and we couldn't. I finished games there, derby games where we won 3-1. I got man of the match, and all the boys are out celebrating, and we're going, "Here, you coming along?" And I'm like, "I can't. I need to go home and change nappies for the night." That was me. Like that was me blowing off my steam, as getting a Chinese and watching TV on a Saturday night. Because what else could I do? I couldn't afford to do anything else, and it was challenging and tough. But it got to the stage then where the kids are not necessarily raised, but they're old enough to I guess we've done things the wrong way around. We were so young having the kids. Now they're raised, and now we're kind of starting to live our lives a bit more. We're starting to go on holidays on our own. We're starting to be a couple, I suppose. Because all along is we couldn't go anywhere without our kids. It was virtually impossible. They were so young; they needed to be babied and looked after. We couldn't leave them with anybody, and we didn't. I guess we didn't want to either. We've put in this hard work now. We might as well see it through. And now they're at the ages where they're teenagers. We are now starting to get our lives back together. We're starting to go to restaurants. We're starting to be able to invest time in ourselves. We're starting to get a holiday here or there. And like I said, we've done things the wrong way around, but I think it's rewarding at the same time because I get to be my kids who are old and still play football, and it's nice, and it's nice to be able to support them now as well. But like I say, I think it's come to the point where I go, I know I'm 33, but I'm now saying I need this block for myself for the next few years and just invest in myself and make the best of the situation.
Yeah, no, I know, there's so much made of the Ireland stuff with the granny stuff. We all know what's happened since, and don't really want to go into it. But just you made a point that obviously your kids were another reason why it was hard for you to travel to Ireland games. There was a couple of rumors that you got bullied, and someone said you had a wig and pulled it off. I don't know if you want to talk about this. If you don't want to talk about it, we won't. It's no problems.
I was absolutely never in my life bullied. at Irish setup ever. I have absolutely great fond memories of my time there. The times I went there, I absolutely loved. I loved every minute of the trips I was on. Um, it was looking back, I found it was too hard, unfortunately, to make a sacrifice to go to every single squad.
Yeah.
I must have been called up for double amount of the times I was there. I just couldn't make the sacrifice. It was just virtually impossible. And it came to me picking, my kids or myself, and uh, I had to just go be with my kids at home. I couldn't just I couldn't be selfish and make that move over to Ireland. There was times I didn't, times I couldn't, and obviously I was not happy with the way I parted. Of course not, and I've said that many times, and it's well documented that I haven't. But I think at some point it's going to come to a head one way or another, because I just couldn't be consistent with going over there. And I speak to, at the time, I stuck Glenn Whelan and John Walters and all that stuff, and I always said, look, yeah, I'd love to go back, and I wish that it didn't happen that way, but in the moment, that's just the way things worked out. I got on with every single person there. I had really good teammates there, even when it all blew over and everything's done. Even when I bumped into my teammates in restaurants or out of the shops, or when I played against them, there was always hugs and chats and conversation. I never had an issue with a single teammate. There's not one person I didn't like there, and that's hand on heart. There's not one person I thought was a nugget, not at all. I got on with everybody, always performed to the best of my ability there. My record speaks for itself. And
yeah, definitely.
And yeah, look, she's in a perfect world. I would have loved to continue all the way throughout. It just wasn't meant to be. Could I went back earlier? Yeah, potentially, but it's all dead and buried now. And if I don't get back and, if I don't ever play for Ireland again, then so be it. But for me to say I'm going to chase down a club career now, and potentially if I get a call up, then maybe it's impossible, maybe it's not. We don't know till I cross that bridge. But it's that's very far down the line, I suppose, because like I said, just certain measures has to be taken first. If I get a call up, then I'll grab it with both hands. If I don't, then so be it. And I understand if I don't get called up, a new manager might have his own ideas. I know he's thought highly of, and we just have to cross the bridge when it comes to it. So the way I left Ireland wasn't the way I'd like to have left Ireland, of course not. But at the same time, it's happened, and I look back to real fond memories, and there's not one player I have an issue with there. Absolutely not.
Well, I'm glad that's cleared up now, because it was something that had been going around doing the rounds for years, and I felt like you never.
Yeah, really, and you know what? Also, I actually, while we're talking about it, I actually feel sorry and I guess a bit embarrassed that my teammates had to deal with that. They had to deal with the questions for years afterwards of, will he come back? Why won't he come back? Oh, this situation. Every time I played well, they were getting bombarded with questions. So did managers. It was constantly, especially that 1 year under Man City when I was, player of the year and all that stuff. The amount of questions and talk to the words from managers and the players of, will he or won't he come back? Can you get him back? Why is he not coming back? All these different things. I know I was responsible for that. I know I was responsible for them constantly getting asked those questions, and that is my fault. I get that. And yeah, I guess I'm sorry that that's the case for the players, because they accepted I wasn't coming back. They accepted I left, and they wanted to just push on with the next campaign, the next games that were coming along. They didn't want my name constantly popping up, and it did. And I was always saying to myself, why are they still talking about me? Why are they still asking these questions? My friends would get on the phone to me and send me a link or say, oh, look, they asked this question today about you, and he said this, and I was like, and I wouldn't be angry at the response of the manager or the player. I was angry at why they getting asked the question. So I never held grudges against players by saying, oh, if players were hanging me out to dry or bad naming me, I was never holding them accountable for that. I was holding myself accountable. And then also the guy asking the question of, come on, it's been 3, 4, 5 years. God, why is these things little surfacing? So that was, looking back, yeah, I feel a bit bad for that, really.
Yeah, well, I think it might have been the fact that if they did try maybe hang out or anything like that, it might have been just to get the question away,
Yeah,
for good.
For sure. Yeah, but I don't hold any grudges at all. And like I said, look back at great memories. I really like Steve Staunton. I really appreciate everything he done for me. he came visit me at Man City training ground trying to get me to go back. And I was considering it because Richard Dunn was also kind of putting some nice pressure on me in a nice way because he have a great relationship with Richard Dunn and he's someone I really respect and like a massive big brother to me. He was, and I actually was on the verge of thinking I'll come back, face the music and get on with it. Genuinely, I was that close to doing it, and Steve Staunton actually got the sack. So that never actually happened. I never got to that point. So then it moved on to Trapattoni, and then then it is what it is. And now I find myself sitting here discussing a return to football.
Well, the thing about I just want to say, the thing about Trapattoni, there was no guarantee that you would fit into his system because it was a very defensive style of play anyway. But I know that you'd mentioned that Roberto Mancini was constantly at you, at Man City.
Yeah.
And I know before that you were playing unbelievable with Mark Hughes as manager. And then when Mancini came in, he didn't seem to fancy. I got that impression.
Yeah.
But that's only from the outside looking in.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I struggled under the guy. I just struggled under him. I was inconsistent. I had that season. I still scored like six, 7 goals that season. So on a scale of things, it wasn't that bad. But I just found it hard to enjoy my football. I hated going into training. Look forward to driving out of the place. He just made football so difficult, and it seemed like he had an agenda against me. I think my days were numbered there, regardless. Because look, at the end of the day, they had a blank check to bring in whoever the hell they wanted, regardless of if I felt I was good enough or not to be there. It didn't make. I think my days were numbered regardless. But yeah, it was testing times under Mancini. But I went to Aston Villa then in the end and tried to start a new chapter.
Were you under Martin O'Neill at Aston Villa?
No, he brought me in, and then 4 hours later after signing, he resigned, and I was just like, not again. What's going to happen next?
Well, that's just bad luck, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I heard that. I actually said, should I go back to my club till the new manager comes in and see? And they were like, no, we still want to sign the owner, the American owner at the time, Randy Lerner. He's still a really big fan of yours. He still wants it there, and blah blah blah. And then he said Gerard Houllier is coming in, and I was unsure. But then when I heard Gary McAllister was coming, I thought, he's a good guy, nice guy. He should like me, should help me. Same position, similar styles. And maybe he can, help the situation. And yeah, it was tough on Houllier. Did not enjoy it at all. But and yeah, like I said, then just different things throughout my career panned out. Different revolving doors of managers at Aston Villa. I went to Newcastle on loan. And then I found myself last season just with this so-called bomb squad, me and 10, 11 other players, and Shay Given was in it. Darren Bent, Alan Hutton, a lot of talent, a lot of big players. Potentially a team could probably play in the Premier League on its own. Because Villa were going through some transition. And yeah, I was a victim of that. So then I ended up going to Stoke. Luckily, Mark Hughes came and rescued me from that situation. And then I had my 4 or 5 seasons at Stoke, which I really enjoyed. Really enjoyed Stoke. I felt really grateful and blessed that I got that opportunity. And I loved it. Really loved it there. Especially my first couple of years, I played a lot and I enjoyed it. And then I got a little bit of a nasty leg break. I think like 12 days before my wedding. Second last training session of the season before we were finished for a summer break. So it was a nightmare. And I just recovered from that. Played January to the summer with Stoke after my leg break return under Paul Lambert. And I left Stoke then in the summer. And yeah, I've been in and out of clubs since. Dipped in and out of Bolton, dipped in and out of other clubs, just training, keeping fit. I'm just a fitness fanatic, so I'm just always on it. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. I was exploring opportunities abroad. We didn't know as a family, do we want to go abroad and stay abroad? We didn't know, but my kids are too serious into their football over here, and their friends and their schools would be unfair for me to just pick them up and drop them into different countries. So I was determined would I go across it myself and make it happen. But time has moved on quite quick now, and I guess I'm just at the stage now where, like I say, I'm having the conversations and just got to pick the right option for me now next.
Yeah, just 2 things. I just want to see, like, how is your body at the moment? You must have been training a lot during lockdown, so you must be feeling somewhat fit. I think you trained with the lads, did you? The guys.
Yeah, I've been training for. I don't stop training. I don't really have days off from training. Whether I'm training myself or I'm training somebody else, or I'm training My son, yeah, I'm always active, very very active daily. So yeah, I'm in good shape. I'm in really good shape, and I feel confident, and I feel I feel 27, 28, and feel mentally and physically. I feel really charged up.
Yeah, I think you must have a lot of energy now as well. The fact that your kids are off doing, they can do their own things now and kind of look after themselves. It's probably giving you a bit more free time to be able to focus on yourself as well. But if you were to, you spoke about maybe playing abroad, and don't take this the wrong way, but would League of Ireland be an option for you at all? Because it wouldn't be a far flight. Maybe a Dundalk or a Shamrock Rovers who are kind of competing at a
Um,
high level.
I wouldn't. I genuinely wouldn't rule anything out at all. I wouldn't rule anything out at all. I'd entertain every option everywhere because I'm open minded. I'm open minded to something off the beaten track and something exciting, but I'm also open minded to being England or Ireland. I'm open minded. I genuinely am open minded, and I have to be. The position I'm in now, I have to be. I have to have as many conversations as I can. I have to entertain everything. I'm not in a position to be turning things down unless they're absolutely ridiculous. But I'm having some good conversations at the moment. Some Championship managers, League One managers here, and yeah, potentially lining stuff up. And I just need a date. For me, I need to be able. I'd like to get a date nailed down to be able to work towards when it's a
Yeah,
preseason.
pre-season.
Yeah. I just need to nail down a date because it's great training, but you need to train with a purpose. You need to train smart. There's no point flogging yourself running 1,000 miles a week. You need to train smart, and I need a date to work towards to be able to build towards that, of course.
Of
So,
course.
so yeah, that's kind of the conversation I'm having at the moment. And that's what I'm working towards.
Yeah, it's about maintaining that conditioning really, so you can go.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going in, you're not more or less blowing out your arse when you're in there
Mm-hmm.
with the rest of them. I think that's I could get what you mean there, but I know you wanted to stay for half an hour, so Stephen, just lastly, just on the Ireland stuff, what would it mean to you to get maybe one more cap or one more call up?
You know what? It'd be exciting. It'd be fun. Um,
I can see a big smile on your face there when you
yeah,
mentioned it. So
it'd be fun. It'd be exciting, and I guess it would obviously clarify what I set out to do. Like, I'm going out to try play for club football to the best of my ability to warrant a call up. If that's the case, then great, and if not, then so be it. But yeah, if I got a call up, I guess it'd be me achieving exactly what I set up to do, and you know it wouldn't just be a call up. I don't want just a token call up. I want to earn the call up, and I want to be there for a reason. I'm not there just to stretch my legs and go over for a trip. I'm there for the right reasons, and but like I say, that's something further down the line because I have to earn that. A lot of guys out there have been earning it for 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. I have to make up for a lot of lost time, and by doing that, I got to really rip some trees up, and that's the be all and end all for it. Really, I have to really just capture as many highlights as I can and capture the right attention. And like I say, it might be unrealistic and it could be just a dream, but you're better off aiming that way than just going out playing a normal game on a Saturday. I want to play that game with serious pressure on my shoulders and with a real drive. And I don't think there's anything higher for me to aim for than an international call up.
well, I think it comes down to having goals is always good for the head and something to look focus towards. Pushing yourself to the limit to get to that point. So I wish you all the best in your comeback, and I hope it happens for yourself
Mm-hmm.
personally. And obviously, it would be great if you could get back in the Ireland for one last time, or even just for a campaign. It would be great, I suppose,
Yeah,
for
we'll
Ireland
see.
and yourself. It'd be a bit of a crazy story, but it would be good.
Yeah. I think the media's head will fall off over that country. I think if they see me turning up to a training camp, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, listen again. I just appreciate your time, and thanks for kind of clearing up some stuff that I felt like should have been cleared up a long time ago, and I felt some of the stuff put on you was quite unfair. So, Stephen,
Yeah,
thanks very much.
you know what? I look back at it as like, yeah, it's unfair, but at the same time, I think I deserved it. You know what I mean? So I never lost sleep over it because I'm like, well, I did cause all this to myself, so why should I not take the backlash? So I was always okay with it to a degree that I never felt victimized or I never felt, but I can genuinely say, listen, I'm the last person in any training environment to ever get bullied. And trust me, that would not be the reason why I'd ever leave Ireland. It would never get to that. If I ever got bullied in that environment, it wouldn't end well. Trust me, it wouldn't end with me leaving that camp. I look back with such fond memories. I still have the jerseys hung up in my house. You know, I have my caps. Have one of the gold caps. I think nearly certainly represented me scoring in the Croke Park. I'm sure the gold cap was for that. Yeah, I look back.
The first goal in
yeah,
Croke Park.
Yeah. So I look back with real fond memories, and all the lads were great guys to me. Robbie Keane, Damien Duff, all these, Richard Dunn, like a big brother, like I say. There's a lot of guys back there. Shea, I still speak to Shea all the time. I spoke to Richard Dunn yesterday. I speak to these guys all the time. I look back, great memories, and you know that bullying thing is just absolutely ridiculous. Shout from whoever threw that out there. You know, I guess, and looking back, I just should have made the most of it. That's it. But it was circumstances more than me not wanting to play. It was, you know, it was just circumstances. And I actually left. I left that camp with a view to going back. I didn't leave. There was another game, and I think we just played Slovakia. I'm certain we played Slovakia, and I was due to go back to the squad again. And all things just spiraled out of control, and things went. You know, I wasn't prepared for that. You know what? When I look back, I didn't realize how big I was. I thought I was just a normal kid, and I still do to this day. Like, I don't act any different to what I feel I should. I feel like I just act like one of my friends from Cove. I just act like a normal Cove lad. I didn't realize how, at the time, how the country looked at me, or how they took me. So yeah, look, all that stuff is just ridiculous. I hope I cleared that up now, and like I say, yeah, we'll see what the future holds.
Well, I wish you all the best, as I said. And guys, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Huge thanks for Stephen for coming on as well. Again, I wish you the best for the future, and hope to see you playing football soon.
Nice one. No problem.